Hi everyone, welcome back to another session of Measure for Measure here on Northwest Access Television. I have a good friend of mine as a guest today, Mr. John Smyth. John, welcome to Measure for Measure. And John
hi,
John is a singer-songwriter extraordinaire, and I'm going to have you give just a little bit of a thumbnail sketch of your. We don't generally spend a lot of time on biography, because we figured that it's nice to kind of delve into the songs and kind of what inspires you. But it's nice to know kind of where you're coming from too. So if you want to just give us whatever you'd like to about your who you are and your history.
I grew up in Arizona, came to Vermont when I was 16 and never had enough money to leave. And got interested in songwriting fairly early on, but I never could actually do it. I mean, I'd try and try. So I'd play, I mean, all the people I loved, like the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Bob Dylan, and those people. I mean, I could play most of those songs, but I couldn't write a song to save my life. So,
Well, that changed.
it did. It was kind of a midlife crisis, actually, for me.
Yeah. It's was it something about wanting to kind of declare your, this is who I am type thing of like, so people will know you by your music, that type of thing, sort of?
It wasn't really that. I was hoping to get girls.
Yeah, well,
but
it might work, I don't know.
It didn't work.
Yeah, but that's terrific. But now we're going to have you start off with a song, and it's kind of, you were telling me earlier it was pretty much one of your first songs. Huh?
It was the first song that I actually felt like it was a complete song. It was put together, and the way it fell together was almost scary. It was fast. I was trying to write a song about my daughter, and I just couldn't pull it off, and then all of a sudden the song just like materialized in front of me, and it was a song about how I couldn't write a song about my daughter. Which was, it turns out to be a trick I've used in a lot of other songs since then. So where you can't hit it front on, so you just kind of hit it from the sideways. So it's called "I Got Your Picture," which is I'm staring at a picture, wondering why the heck I can't write these words, but I mean I can see it all there clearly in front of me. The camera catches it, but my words can't. So which is kind of the mode of the song. Mm-hmm. So that's how that song came to be.
All right. So let's hear it. And this is "I Got Your Picture."
I got your picture.
All right.
Well, you know that you can talk to me just anytime you please. And you can stand me up or you can drop me to my knees. Blow in and out of my life like some kind of misbehaving breeze. I don't really mind it. It's another Saturday night beside my reading light, and my pen stays still and the page stays wide. 'Cause you got a spirit, girl, that my words don't capture right. But the camera finds it. I got your picture. I keep it close to me. All these things that I surround myself with, it means the most to me. Though you may try to hide, you know the camera never lies. I'm drifting back to some sweet place where it caught you by surprise. And every time I see your face, I get something in my eyes. Oh, baby, don't mind me. God, I really love the way the light plays in your hair. And that whisper in your smile and the longing of your stare. Girl, when you get lonely, or this world just doesn't seem to care, you know where to find me. I got your picture. I keep it close to me. And of all these things that I surround myself with, it means the most to God, I really love the way the light plays in your hair. And that whisper in your smile and the longing of your stare. Girl, when you get lonely, or this world just doesn't seem to care, you know where to find me. I got your picture. I keep it close to me. And of all these things that I surround myself with, it means the most to me.
Thank you, John. That was a beautiful song. And something about fathers and daughters. I mean, there's incredible emotion there that I'm thinking of, like a song like, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Jonathan Edwards wrote a song called Tiny Little Hands. And,
Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah, isn't that a great song? And it kind of reminds me of that. And I love your imagery about how this looking at the picture, and sorry, we
lost that
that's
one.
all right. We
Sorry, we start that question again.
no, that's all right.
Do you remember where we were?
Yeah, that's right. He'll splice. But one of the things that I loved about it was that about how that that picture catches, like it catches the light in her hair and that type of thing, and you know, it sort of allows you to, just by the look of her, so sort of to get into, you know, when I see you, I'm thinking this. You make me feel this.
That's almost exactly it. That's right. That's pretty profound, and I think that is songwriting in general. Okay, it's there's something you don't know what it is, and when it comes out, all of a sudden you see a little piece of yourself that you couldn't quite describe before. Because songwriting, I mean, you can't write a lot of those thoughts in words or anything like that. It's just, it comes out as an emotion, and you didn't know, you couldn't have described it with words or music alone. But so you're right. When you stare at that picture and you get that feeling, that's exactly, it's almost songwriting right there.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing, you know, that it's nothing you can sort of arrive at intellectually. It's sort of like it's this magic mixture, sort of, you know, of this, you know, I always think of it as the muse whispering in my ear, you know.
That's a good way to think of it. Yeah. I never thought of that, but yeah.
You know, and just that we can go to those, you know, to those places that, and sometimes, do you find that you, like, I think you were kind of getting at this, do you find that sometimes you don't realize kind of what your emotions sort of were until they're sort of out there and you're sort of looking at them from the standpoint of looking at your song? Sort of like, you know, it's like, I didn't realize I was so hurt by that, or I didn't realize I was so angry by that. I didn't realize how funny that was.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, lots of times you don't really know what a song means until like a little bit of time has passed after you wrote it. Because, like I say, I mean, you know, you don't really know where it came from in the first place, and all of a sudden you'll look back at it and say, "Oh, I know what this is about." All of a sudden, and you're absolutely right. I mean, you look at it and you say, "Oh, I didn't know I felt that way."
Yeah.
So that is kind of the way it is.
Now, how long, probably, like, were you sort of writing songs before kind of that song that sort of, you know, the I got your picture, that sort of like, that's what a John Smyth song is? Like, how long were you sort of tinkering with songs and maybe fragments of them before that really came into focus?
Well, I Got Your Picture was written in 2007, okay? And I don't know how old I was then, but I'm 57 now, so I mean, do the math. But I'd been trying to write a song since I was 16, and I'd written a couple. Like, one was called the Raisin Bran Song. It was kind of a comedy song, and it was a good song, you know, but it wasn't getting the girls, you know. And then I wrote another song, another song after that, you know, just before the birth of my first child, and just couldn't quite seal it. I had two verses, couldn't quite nail it down. I really had trouble closing it, you know what I mean? And then the first song that I felt really tied us all together was I Got Your Picture, and so it was quite a while, honestly.
Mm-hmm. And it's you know, there are lots of love songs, you know, and it's certainly a love song, and you know, you think of love song as just romantic love, but there's, you know, father-daughter love, you know, there's all those kind of, you know, that it speaks to that, you know, that even if it's, whether it's hard for me to say I love you or not, there it is.
I think those are the hardest songs to write, is love songs, and I don't think I've ever actually written what you would call a love song, but I Got Your Picture. I do see what you mean. You know, it does kind of imply it. I mean, the problem is, like, there's only so many unique ways to say I love you, and it's like most of them are already taken.
But one of the most enduring and profound ways to say is, you know, whenever you need me, I'm here, and that's what you're saying in that song, you know, and that's you know, love for the long haul, you know.
Right.
And so it's just a beautiful song. And now you really get into imagery in that song a little bit, you know, and the picture and the way the light is playing on somebody's hair and that type of thing. You think of like who are those early influences really, you know, grabbed you with their ability to sort of, you know, describe and use those metaphors of your language. I know we've both a fan of Jackson Browne, who's
Yeah, for sure, and he was huge, and Bob Dylan, and Neil Young, and Paul Simon. I mean, those are all huge influences on me, and on the countryside, Willie Nelson. I'm a big Nelson fan from way back.
And you know, I just found that out now from you, but I was always loved Willie, and you know, I always like to say I listened to him long before it was fashionable. But I always said that about Jimmy Buffett too. I don't know when it became fashionable, but I'm always I mean, they're just great writers, and when you consider that, like Willie Nelson, you know, Hello Walls, and I mean, Crazy, you know, I'm crazy for loving you. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, one of the all-time classics, you know, and he's writing that when he's, you know, long before he's, you know, when he was in a suit and tie and, you know, about 40,000 joints ago with old Willie.
Yeah, that was back before he was outlaw.
Yeah, that's right, before he was an outlaw. But now you, since then, now you've kept writing and performing all over. And what is it about, like, you know, it's one thing to write a song and sort of put it on a shelf or even record it, but what does it mean to have an interplay with an audience, a live audience? How important is that for your songwriting and for your sort of your being as a songwriter? You know,
I think it's everything. First of all, it forces you to be real. You know, if you're going to write something that's not real, that you don't really feel or something like that, you're not going to fool the audience. Do you know what I mean? And you find that out immediately. I mean, you can sit there, you can sing it in your bedroom or down in the basement all you want, right? If you're not willing to sing it in a crowd full of people, okay, then you didn't find it. You didn't find that feeling. I mean, so playing, to me, that's the biggest thing. Okay, it's a good filter. It's you know, like what you're willing to dish out to the audience, and then they feed back to you. I mean, they tell you, they know for sure if it's real or not. So so I'm very much a live actor. This will end up probably being one of the few recordings of me in existence.
Well, but you know, it's about that you know, that emotional bond, like, you know, that you're bearing your soul, but it's sort of like there's that give and take that has to be out there. You know, the reception of it, and what is that reception? And it's scary sometimes because you don't know what that's going to be.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. Okay, well, first song I took out was I Got Your Picture. Okay, I never played live in front of anybody before, except around campfires or something like that, you know, with family and stuff. So I drove 40 miles out of my way to do an open mic at Langdon Street Cafe with one song. Okay. Halfway through I Got Your Picture, second verse, 2 lines into the second verse, I froze because of the people that were out there. And they literally had 2 people had to come and assist me off the stage. So it was pretty frightening for a while. But I mean, the point is, I mean, now it's like almost the main thing. I mean, if I've got a new song, I want to play it in front of people and kind of like, how does it go? How do I feel playing it in front of people and stuff like that? Because you don't know that feeling until you actually try it. You know.
Yeah, it's true. You know, and so, you know, and you're hoping for real good. You know, vibes. But sometimes you feel, well, it'll sort of tell you, well, I have to maybe make that a little bit more accessible, say what I mean a little more. If I'm kind of out there.
There's some sites though. There's some sites. I first of all, I belong to a songwriting group in Burlington. Okay, and what we do is we meet once a month. I'm kind of lackadaisical about my attendance, but we'll meet once a month and we'll throw tomatoes and rocks at each other's songs. Okay, so to kind of get the big chinks out of it before the audience has to hear it, and somebody will tell you right out, hey, this is way too sickly sweet or something like that, and you say, oh, okay, right. So, and there's online sites too, and those guys are brutal because they're anonymous. So if you want to know what's wrong with your song, I mean, just post it up on Plain Folks or the Muse's Muse or something like that, and they'll let you know what's wrong with
ready,
it.
Huh? Wear your Kevlar underwear. I tell you, I paid actually for like some like feedback, that type of thing, and
Like from Taxi or something?
no, from Reverb Nation, I think.
Okay.
And it was amazing because you get some people. The guy has the most terrible voice in the world, and then there's other people say his voice was excellent, but the guitar was terrible. So you get all these. But it's probably a little more democratic than some of the others that might have actual songwriters doing it. There, I think anyone can kind of log on and heave a tomato or a rock, but they don't necessarily agree on things that you might consider what do you call it, hard and fast, like either he was on key or he wasn't.
Right.
But but as far as the actual
Construction
emotion
of the song.
and the construction of a song and how those things relate, it'd be great to have we had that group here in St. Albans come up for one show.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
the group. That's the Burlington group.
Mhm,
Yes.
Yep. I was. I went actually once. I need to go again and get my courage up and get ready for the
They're not
tomatoes
quite
and
so
rocks.
bad because they're not anonymous.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because
You come back the next month and you can diss all over them too.
yeah, that's right. Or you can follow them out in the parking lot. And say,
Well, can't quite do that.
But so you had written, of course, this I got your picture, and then things would take off from there. Now, a couple years ago, I had a wonderful experience because I went. It was at a local restaurant here. We went to an open mic. It was actually 4th of July.
I remember
And,
that. Yes, right.
And there were nobody showed up for the open mic except for you and I and a girl you were singing with.
Jen Croto.
Yeah, Jen Croto, great voice. And Steve Hartman, another guy
That's
who's
right.
going to be on the show when I can pin him down. Hear that, Steve?
He's a great songwriter, Steve.
Yeah. And he's willing to do it. So I'm not. This is no surprise to him. But and I hadn't met you before, and we're in this room, and you did a song that well, it really blew me away. But I want to have you introduce it, and we'll have you play it for the folks, and then I want to kind of talk about it a little bit. And this is a song called Dirt. Now, how long ago did you write that?
Probably 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did it take long to write? You mentioned that sometimes they, all of a sudden they're there.
That's one of the songs that I just discovered. I looked down on the ground and there was a song sitting there. Everything but the chorus was completely intact. Wow. And when I'm pretty good when I set a deadline for myself. Where I said, man, this song's coming together. I'm gonna sing it, on such and such a day, right? And at such and such an open mic, and I'm pushing it. I can't come up with a chorus. I can't come up with a chorus. But everything fell together, and so finally, the day of that I was going to sing it, because I was going to sing it without a chorus. I mean, because that's just the way I am, and all of a sudden I just blurted out, dirt, 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 dirt. You know, every this is all that I can see. You know, dirt, dirt, dirt. What will become of me, right? And so I was practicing it, and Jen, good friend of mine, I played it for her, and I said, "What do you think of the song?" And she said, "Well," she said, "Thanks for stealing my chorus." I said, "What?" And she says, "Yeah." She says, "Don't you know?" She said, "Don't you remember?" She says, "A few days ago," she said, "I used that exact word. That everywhere I looked, it was just dirt, dirt, dirt." And I said, "Oh my God, you're right," which kind of speaks to the songwriting process in general, right? I mean,
So like subconsciously.
we're all thieves, you know. From just, you know, I mean, I'll steal a line from anybody, you know, in a casual conversation or anything, and not intentionally, but it just kind of all floats up like that.
Yeah. Well, sort of like something is percolating, you don't even realize it, and then it comes out of the pressure cooker in this song.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so the you know, the nobody's quite likable in any of my songs. There's always a little bit of a flaw in it, and this song is kind of that way, you know. So
All right.
so
So let's hear John Smyth singing "Dirt."
sometimes a haircut and a new shirt make me look like a saint. It's kind of how snow covers dirt, like a fresh coat of paint. It's kind of how a smile hides a heartache in a fortress of stone. Oh, you should have run from me, honey. I can't leave you alone. Oh no. It feels like everything I touch turns to dirt, and now I touch you. And I never mean to bring this much hurt. It's just what I do. But I could wash my hands 100 times in this place and still not feel clean. And by the look on your face, baby, you know just what I mean. Yeah, 'cause there's just dirt, 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 as far as I can see. And it's dirt, 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 what will become of me? So let's take the last dirt road out of this dirt town, and we'll just disappear. And put our roots down in some new ground, someplace warm and far away from here. Where I could love you real slow, let my hair go. You know this new shirt, it never quite fit me. still I'll never quit you, baby. Now don't you quit me. Oh no, 'cause there's just dirt, 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 as far as I can see. And it's dirt, 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 dirt. What will become of me? And it's dirt, 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 dirt. What will become of me?
Well, John, I'm interested to know kind of what my audience thinks of it. You can always send back your feedback. I just, that song has blown me away since I've ever heard it the first time. But I love that image of dirt being so multifaceted in a way, not to get, flighty or highfalutin, but that it's this dirt that we want to kind of wash away. It's
Right.
this dirt that we're going to put roots down in.
Mhm.
It's the dirt that forms the road that leads us out of this place. And this dirt that, this dirt is ultimately what I will become.
Mm-hmm.
And the image of the how snow covers dirt like a fresh coat of paint. That just like blew me away. I was like, why is Jackson Browne standing here at this restaurant on 4th of July? Because that's I have a fairly high bar for metaphor, and you just cleared it with by about 3 feet that day, and it's a song that means a lot to me, but it's about that whole sort of process about how there are certain things. That's the way I think of it, that it's all sort of one ribbon of here we are. We might take this road out of town.
Mm-hmm.
We might put roots down. We might, but ultimately this, we'll all
end
fade
up
into it.
Mm-hmm.
Into that same dirt that was our road out of here. We become the road. Kind of neat.
None of that was intentional. Like I said, the 3 verses of that song, like, literally wrote themselves in about a couple hour period. And it didn't start out even with the tune. It was just like a, my son was doing some we were messing around with some beats and stuff like that, and it was sometimes a haircut and a new shirt make me look like a saint, and that was kind of the whole original thing, and I managed to squeeze all the verses out, and then I wrote the lyrics down. I said, man, there's something here. So I turned it in, and then, like I say, I found the tune, and which I just kind of chased after. I mean, the tune fell in my lap too as soon as I had the words in front of me, and then all I had left was the chorus, which Jen
donated.
Jen had thankfully donated in a conversation.
Yeah, that's right. You never know.
A few days
folks.
before, so.
If we hang around with songwriters, you might you'll get
The problem
you might
is
get mentioned eventually.
the problem is they all want a piece of that copyright.
Yeah. But one of the things that amazes me about that, and you touched on it, that there's always like a sort of a bad actor aspect of your song.
Oh yeah.
And here it is like that. I'm dirt.
Right.
And now I touched you.
Right.
And
that's
so
just
even
what
though
I do.
I revere you. I'm bringing you. Am I by loving you? Am I bringing you to my level, or am I coming up to yours? That's the way I'm looking at it.
Right, and to just say, hey, I don't mean to bring this much hurt. It's just what I do. I mean, it's kind of non-apologetic too, which kind of is bad for the guy too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
it's
it
like,
is.
hey.
It's just what I do. Is it's get over it.
Right.
It's like, well,
Yeah, but like I said, I didn't it just kind of all fell down, and I'm still kind of exploring that lyric a little bit because every time I sing it, I get a little more nuance out of it or something like that, and that's kind of the way it is with some songs.
yeah.
So
And that somehow sometimes you can, the way you'll sort of do a certain inflection on a word can all of a sudden be very, very different. Like, and I'll sometimes find it in mid-performance that it somehow resonates more if I sort of stress this syllable or something like that.
Right.
That it's just sort of, you get it now. Is or have you, maybe you've heard this before and maybe you hadn't heard it and thought of it in this way. Is that sort of
sure, yeah, I get that.
now the how much of that bad actor is John Smyth?
That's the question, isn't it? And I think that's because songwriting in itself is somewhat cathartic. It's the therapy that I can't afford. So I'm dragging this stuff out and looking at it. I mean, they're kind of pictures of what's inside of you. You know what I mean? So certainly some of it is.
Yeah.
And
asking those questions, and then you could be paying $300 and laying on a couch and asking them, but the chords are kind of bringing them out, and you're asking those same questions, and it is sort of this journey of self-discovery. I mean, I don't know if these Tin Pan Alley songwriters that John Prine is said, like,
he's
he was
another
talking,
hero of mine.
isn't he great?
Yeah.
He said we were going to write this song together. He and this friend of his, and they said we'll do it like the professionals in Nashville, and we'll do this song at like 10 o'clock on a Monday morning. And so he said, but and then because John goes into this thing about how he's looking at the National Enquirer for ideas, but that I don't know how. You hear of like Tin Pan Alley songwriters and that type of thing that sort of do it for a living and say, wow, maybe they're just amazing at harnessing emotion, but I have less control over that. And, I can't say, I'm going to, I'll sit down tomorrow and do this. You'd mentioned that you're pretty good disciplined about finishing things up.
Right.
But obviously you kind of, well, you can't really. How do you channel the muse, or do you just try to be in a place where you can listen?
I don't know what controls that because yeah, sure. When please another song, please. I mean, how do you do that? So when I feel like writing, I just start writing, and not songs, not lyrics or anything. I just start writing, just free writing. And I'll write for days, pages and pages and pages, and I'll just sit there and stare at it, and all of a sudden there's something there, and then you pick up the guitar and bam, that's how I write the majority of my songs. Is I'm sitting there staring at all that writing, and then I'll blurt something out, from what seems to be the theme of the writing, and possibly that's a chorus or a hook or something like that, right? And then I'll grow the song out from that. So
even getting back to that, that pressure cooker type thing that, you don't know it's coming out, of your subconscious, and all of a sudden it is.
Right.
And obviously you were writing it down and didn't really quite realize what it meant.
Right, exactly. 'Cause you just write. You write everything. You filter nothing. The idea is just get all your thoughts on a page, every single one of them, even the ones that seem absurd and ridiculous. Because those the ones you filter are probably the ones you're trying to hide. And those are the ones that people want to know about. And so there's something there. You just try not to filter, and it's not that hard to do. It's just as long as you tell yourself nobody's ever going to read this stuff.
You had though. In getting back to your song about your daughter, I got your picture. You had a great line in there about, and if you could help me with it, the all white and no ink, or what was it?
Yeah. It's another Saturday night beside my reading light, my pen stays still, and my pen stays still, and the page stays white.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, that type of that sometimes it doesn't come, but in that instance you were talking about that.
I was trying to capture that moment where nothing's coming. Because that is what happens sometimes.
Terrific. Yeah. Now what's your approximate size of your catalog of songs that you sing out?
I've got 40 songs right now in rotation.
Oh, terrific.
And they've. First of all, I won't sing it if I don't think it's a good song, And so they're all real feelings, but obviously the feedback from the audience is different. I mean, they all have their favorites, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but I got 40 songs in current rotation.
Oh, that's terrific. Now do you generally go into like a performance with it's kind of a sketch in your head of kind of how it will go, or you completely feel the audience, or do you try to have sort of somewhat of a set list? Or
I start out with a set list. I never follow it completely.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of goes with how. I mean, you get a feel for it because the audience might not be the audience that you thought they were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you haven't got their attention yet. So you've got to come out with a little bit of a grabber or something like that, and then wander away a little bit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but all the songs I want to play are in front of me, and in the order that I thought they were going to be. But maybe I'll alter that.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of the way I work it.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to stick to the set list. I never do. But the changes are usually in response to the audience, because I'll notice, whoa, wait a minute, the football game is taking all my taking all,
everyone's attention.
It's taking all my attention. So I would play something a little more upbeat or something like that to try to grab it back or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Now, what have you ever played with a band, or do you play as a solo act exclusively?
No, I'm just a solo act.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would like to be in a band. It's the idea of practicing and stuff like that. I mean, it's just hard enough right now just to get out and play.
Yeah, it's true. But also there's that, about turning over some of the keys, to the or turning over some of the steering of this, because obviously you have another instrument, that type of thing, and that's going to obviously influence the song, so that it's like you're sharing a lot when you share that. I mean, it's nothing I've really done. I've done a little bit sporadically with a friend of mine as far as on some backing vocals,
Mm-hmm.
but it's quite a step to take in a way to invite somebody into the music making.
It is, and it's a bit of a trust thing too. I mean, you don't want them to mess up your song.
Yeah, that's right.
But I have played with a fiddle player, Tim Berry, and the guy's magnificent, and he's got a pretty good feel for my music, and we've done a couple of shows together, and I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the time thing, like when we're going to practice and stuff like that. So we pretty much just kind of like if we're at the same place at the same time, I'll just say, hey, you want to sit in on my set, and it usually comes out pretty good. So I like playing with people. I just haven't done it that much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, what's the future the looking for as far as any recordings coming out? Any plans for that or that type of thing?
I don't have any solid plans for that. I'm nothing formal. Like I say, one of the fears I think is a fear of sucking. Once you're on that CD, if you sucked, it's
forever.
It's forever. So that's why I always just kind of smile and say, well, I'm a live act.
That's right.
And if you didn't like this show, come to the next one, right? But you can't say that with the CDs. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Unless it's live. But
it's exactly. So.
And maybe that, to get that give and take with the audience. The live recording would be the, kind of a great way to go, maybe.
I've a couple people have tried to record me, people with recording studios and stuff like that, and both of them told me the same thing. Okay? They said, we can't say you don't have rhythm. Obviously you do. But you have no timing. This song ends faster than it started with, right? We couldn't put a click track to you. We can't synchronize any drums to you or anything like that. So go buy yourself a metronome and come back later. And you know how boring that is to practice with a metronome? And honestly, that's where having a band comes in. You got the drummer, you got your metronome right there. So before recording, I should probably, get more of the playing with other people experience under my belt.
Yeah,
is the thing.
Mm-hmm. Terrific. And the what is the most recent song you've written?
Well, the most recent song is a song called "I Hope I Never Lose My Mind." And I'm not going to sing that one tonight. It's about my mother who's got Alzheimer's disease.
I've heard you do that song. It's a very emotional song.
It's got a bit of a rant through it, which was kind of interesting for me. But it's another one of those songs that just kind of fell out. I wouldn't have written it that way intentionally, but that is just kind of the way it came out. So it's a. And then the song before that was "Talkin' Raccoon Stink Eye Blues." I came out with that came before that one. So
now that is a great tune. Now I'm going to have you do that song, and tell me a little bit. I assume it's pretty much a true story.
It's absolutely true story. Every line of it. In fact, right down to the idea. Well, first of all, the story is I hit a raccoon with my Toyota Yaris, and it did significant damage. I went back to see how the raccoon was, right, and he's standing by the side of the road just glaring at me. And I got home and I called my insurance company. Big mistake, because I reported it, and they said, you know something? Your insurance is lapsed, and thank you for calling, because we've got this on record now. So the fixing it was all up to me, and okay, right, It was I didn't intentionally let my insurance lapse. Right, it's paying things electronically and stuff like that. It just slipped through. So, and that happened a few years ago. And then one day I said, I'd like to try to write a talking blues song. And so I thought about it. So I started studying all the talking blues songs I like Johnny Cash, and Tom Paxton. He's got a few good ones, and then Bob Dylan and then I said, and I looked for the common thread, and they all seem to be about some fairly common things with a little humorous twist, and I couldn't come up with anything. And all of a sudden, one morning, I just said, "Shoot, that raccoon! That's it, perfect."
Yeah, that's it.
So I wrote it, and I wrote the whole thing in really one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, right, and then I played it for my daughter, and she said, she said, that's kind of nice. She said, but, she said, well, one of the verses is kind of short. She said, the second verse. And I said, what? She said, yeah, she said, check it out. She said, it's half the size of all the other verses. And I went back to the drawing board, and sure enough, it was. Right? And I came back and said, I said, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes songs come through that way. And she said, you're kind of lazy. So she said,
Truth hurts. Huh?
yeah. So I went back and I tried to write those. I couldn't write. Once a song closes for me, it's hard. So I said, I got nothing. And she said, do you want me to write it? She said, I'll write those 6 lines. I was 6 lines short, right? And I must have given her that look that a father should never give a daughter, because I must have rolled my eyes or something. Because she said, Dad, I thought you always said you liked my writing, right? I said, no, I do. I said, write something for me. And a couple days later, she delivered up the 6 lines, and I basically used them completely unaltered. And it fit right in with the song. It sounds like my voicing and everything else. So she kind of did a study of the whole feel of the song, and she came up with with 6 lines that would fit. So
Good for her and good for you. Yeah, it's like a family affair there. But
exactly.
kind of neat, but that she knew what a John Smyth song sounded like.
Yeah, no, exactly.
The,
I was
yeah.
impressed. I was impressed. And,
Ghost Road. Yeah,
so-
that's terrific. But it's an historical song, and it's always a hit when I've heard you do it. So let's hear Raccoon Stink Eye Blues.
Talking Raccoon Stink Eye Blues. It's a mouthful.
Raccoon Stink Eye Blues. All right. Here's John Smyth.
A couple of years ago, I hit a raccoon with my Toyota Yaris, and I damn near killed the thing. The Yaris, that is. The raccoon turned out just fine. And so this song is about that incident. It's called the Talking Raccoon Stink Eye Blues. I was driving home one Saturday night, cut through the dark with my headlights when a big old raccoon, he crossed my line. I was looking at him, he was looking at me, because we both knew we were about to be in the same space at the same time. Well, Schrodinger's cat did disappear, but Einstein made it pretty clear that down here, things won't work that way. By the time I decided to steer, he was going for the guardrail like a white-tailed deer. Somehow I still hit him. Hey, hey. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, hey. So I centered that car to try to save him as my hatchback Yaris tried to shave him. About that time, he put up a fight. He took out my radiator like some kind of Wild Kingdom gladiator, and on my dashboard he put up every light. So that car of mine did stutter and grunt. She rolled over her own front. Those damn plastic parts, they always crack. I pulled over to the side and picked it clean of hair and hide. Then I threw my front bumper in the back. I returned to the scene, not sure why. I guess I hoped that he didn't die, but if he did, there was nothing I could do. Maybe drag him off the thoroughfare and bow my head and say a prayer, but I didn't need to, because he pulled through. He glared at me from across the road, his face in total stink-eye mode, all pissed off and waiting on his turn. Now, for those who've never seen the stink eye, it's a cross between a scowl and pink eye, except on the crack. You can feel the hatred burn. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, hey. When I got home, I surveyed the damage. It was much too much for me to manage, so I called that State Farm girl one more time. She said, your insurance lapsed last week and you're uninsured even as we speak, and that means, honey, we don't pay a dime. Well, I hung up the phone without much drama. See, I've come to appreciate that sort of karma. After all, I brought this on myself. The next 2 days were nasty weather, but I put that piece of junk together with my blood, sweat, and tears and all my wealth. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, hey. Here we go. Now there comes a time in a talking blues song where the singer tells where he went wrong and how he's made amends and paid his dues. Keep your car insured, keep it on the street, and don't run over what you won't eat, and you won't get these raccoon stink-eye blues. Uh-huh. Yeah. Hey, hey.
All right, thank you, John. That was it always tickles my fancy, and I always find I end up. I didn't hear because we're in the studio and it's very disciplined, but I didn't. Usually, I sing along with you when you're going hey hey, and everyone does.
Oh yeah, the hey hey chorus.
Yeah, that's right. But listen, I want to thank you very much for coming in tonight, and have some great insight as to your writing style. 3 phenomenal songs from a phenomenal songwriter, John Smyth, and people will catch you all around the state. The pretty much at open mics or whatever, and your website or anything like that.
I don't have anything that I keep current, but I mean, I play a lot at Bee's Knees and just about any open mic. I do tend to try to show up. So
Terrific. Yeah, I always look forward to it. And you folks that want to catch John Smyth on the highway, avoiding the raccoons, you can hear him do Talkin' Stink Eye Raccoon Stink Eye Blues live and other songs, and see what other gems he's going to come up with. John, I want to thank you very much coming in to Measure for Measure.
thank you, Sean.
All right, and thank you folks for joining us once again, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.